For most of human history, the universe seemed like a predictable, solid, and easily understandable place. It was like a giant clockwork machine, set in motion by a creator and running according to fixed, unbreakable laws. But in the last century, a new kind of science has emerged that has shattered this comfortable picture of reality. It is called quantum physics, and it is the study of the universe at its most fundamental subatomic level. What it has discovered is a world so bizarre, so counterintuitive, and so mind-bending that it has led some of the world's top physicists to a startling and seemingly insane conclusion. There is a high probability that we are all living inside a sophisticated computer simulation. But here is the most shocking part of the story. This bizarre, cutting-edge scientific theory, born out of the world's most advanced laboratories, might just be accidentally stumbling upon the ancient biblical truth of a creator God who spoke reality into existence and upholds it by the power of his word. The stakes of this question are our very understanding of reality. Are you a biological accident in a random material universe? Or are you a character in a divinely written story? A piece of code in a cosmic program written by an ultimate intelligence? We are about to journey to the strange and wonderful world of quantum physics, exploring the mind-bending experiments that have led to the simulation hypothesis, and we will ask an even bigger question. How do these incredible scientific discoveries align with the biblical concept of God? This is not a message of science fiction. This is a message about the nature of reality itself. Imagine you are a character in the most advanced video game ever created. The world around you looks and feels completely real, but in reality, it's all just information, code being processed by a massive computer. The simulation hypothesis suggests that our universe might be just like that. This idea isn't new. Philosophers like Plato have toyed with similar concepts for centuries, but it has gained new traction because of what we've discovered in quantum mechanics. The first major clue is the observer effect. This comes from a famous and baffling experiment called the double-slit experiment. Scientists shoot tiny particles, like electrons, at a screen with two small slits in it. If you don't watch which slit the particle goes through, it acts like a wave, going through both slits at the same time and creating an interference pattern on the wall behind it. But, and this is the part that breaks our brains, if you set up a detector to observe which slit the particle goes through, it suddenly stops acting like a wave and acts like a solid little particle, going through only one slit. The very act of observing it changes its behavior. Reality at the quantum level seems to be fuzzy and undefined, a cloud of possibilities until it is observed. At the moment of observation, it chooses a definite state. This is so strange that it has led some physicists to wonder if reality is only rendered in detail when someone is looking at it, much like a video game only renders the graphics for the part of the world the player is currently in to save processing power. Could our consciousness, our act of observation, be the very thing that collapses the quantum wave function and makes reality real? The atmosphere of this discovery is one of profound mystery. The world is not the solid, independent place we thought it was. It seems to be a participatory universe, one that responds to consciousness. The second clue is that the universe appears to be pixelated. Just as the image on your computer screen is made up of tiny, indivisible units called pixels, physicists have found that space, time, and energy may not be smooth and continuous. There seems to be a minimum possible length, called the Planck length, and a minimum possible unit of time. It's as if our reality has a resolution, a smallest possible unit. This is exactly what you would expect to find if the universe were a simulation running on a computer with a finite amount of processing power. The universe seems to be built on information, on discrete units, just like a piece of software. The famous physicist John Archibald Wheeler summed it up with the phrase "it from bit," the idea that everything we experience as physical reality, the it, emerges from bits of information. The third clue is the fine-tuning of the universe. Physicists have discovered that the fundamental constants of nature, things like the strength of gravity, the mass of an electron, the cosmological constant, are exquisitely and inexplicably fine-tuned to the exact values needed for life to exist. If any of these dozens of values were changed by even a hair's breadth, the universe would be a sterile void of gas, with no stars, no planets, and no life. The odds against this happening by random chance are so astronomically high that it's virtually impossible. This fine-tuning is what you would expect if the universe were a program designed by an intelligent coder who was deliberately setting the parameters of the simulation to produce a specific outcome, life. Now, let's connect this to the Bible. The simulation hypothesis, in its secular form, suggests an unknown, anonymous programmer. But what if the programmer has a name? The Bible opens with the staggering statement, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." And how did he do it? He spoke. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He created reality through the power of his word, through divine information. The universe is, in a very real sense, the product of a divine utterance. The Apostle Paul in Colossians says that Jesus is before all things, and in him all things hold together. The Greek word for hold together means to cohere, to be constituted. This is a stunning parallel to the scientific idea that reality is upheld by a constant stream of information. What if the laws of physics are simply the lines of code in God's cosmic program, and the constant moment-by-moment power of Christ is the processor that keeps the whole simulation running? The observer effect, which shows that reality responds to observation, resonates deeply with a biblical worldview that places a conscious, observing God at the center of all things. Furthermore, it gives incredible weight to the biblical concept of faith, which is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is a form of spiritual observation. It is focusing our consciousness on the reality of God's promises. Could our focused faith, as observers in this divinely coded universe, actually have an influence on quantum reality, on what is rendered into our experience? The science of quantum physics, far from disproving God, may be providing us with a new and profound language for understanding his creative power. It is tearing down the old, materialistic, clockwork view of the universe and replacing it with a picture of reality that is dynamic, information-based, and responsive to consciousness. A picture that looks far more like a divine thought than a random accident. We may not be in a computer simulation in the way a secular physicist would imagine it, but the evidence is mounting that we are living in something much like it. A creation, a divinely coded reality, spoken into existence and sustained by the mind of God. If the mind-bending discoveries of modern science excite you, and you want to see how they can point to the genius of a creator, consider following for more content that explores the intersection of faith and reason.